first couple of races. Begins on and all day long on FS2. So we hope to see you over there when we're done with talking horses over on our FS2 coverage. Ready to get into it?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, here we go. 16,000 non-winners of 2 races. Start it. 6 furlong sprint coming up. I'll let you start.
I just think the theme of this race, if you look at it on paper, is it's quite a few horses in here that want to be forwardly placed early, and they don't kind of hang around sometimes late. So I kind of with that in mind, I just ended up on a horse who was dropping down and just had a little problem last time out in the 2 to Indian Causeway. I just feel like the works have been good since what happened last time, and I don't know if there was just an issue or something happened, just wasn't taken to the track either. And there was nothing wrong with the two races prior to that. When you look at this horse from a speed figure standpoint and just the position that this horse was in as well, should get some pace to chase today. I think it's just a much better spot for this horse today on the drop down. If you can trust coming off of the last race.
That's the big question.
The
problem for me, the problem is, and look, this horse is a major player, and there are 4 works coming back for him since that start. And it was a tougher spot. It's a big drop. Didn't run a step, so it's almost. I mean, there's a major concern that there's some, he can't run anymore off that performance. That's a problem with him. There's another horse in here, Royal King, who just completely stopped last start. For me, looking at those kind of 2 horses, I think it's major question marks. So I went with a horse in here who also had a horrible race last start, but at least he went to the bench for 5 months. So we know there was a problem there, and now they're bringing him back, and he has a legit excuse. And the last time he ran on the dirt at a mile in the 25,000 non-winners at 2, he was actually running a very big race that day, was forwardly placed, took a lead into the stretch in that race, and then 2 very good horses relative to this group. Wanna Winner Refua. There's not going to be any horses like that trying to run him down today. He still hung on for 4th, beat about 3 lengths. But Refua came back, was second for 40,000 non-winners of 2. Each of his next 2 starts, just a lot better than what he's going to be dealing with in here, I thought.
Yeah, I have the horse third in here. I just feel like if you're going to go into this race and you're not sold on the fact that the 2 is going to run well coming back, you're probably going to want to spread a little bit in here. And I think the 1, the 2, and the 5 are probably the places you want to go. I just don't really trust anybody else when you look at this from a pace standpoint. I mean, you think about it, the 4 is going to probably go. The 6 puts blinkers on today. It'll probably show a little bit more speed with Matty over. The 7 on the outside has speed. Your horse on top has a little bit of speed. Something's got to give. I know sometimes pace is kind of a subjective thing.
The 4 and the 7 look like they're going to be in front.
I mean, they're probably legitimate too that are going to be on the front end. And then, I mean, what do you do with a horse like Unsuede, who's the new face in here?
Wow. I mean, the 2 good races from this horse were on a race taken off the turf on a muddy sealed track at Pimlico and then at Parks.
Yeah.
That last race to me was just exceptionally slow, but it's technically it's another race that was taken off the turf too.
Yeah.
I was going to try and let this horse beat me today.
Yeah, I got him second in here. Just a new face thing in the drop-in class, and we've seen Jorge Duarte's horses come here and run well, despite the odds. So maybe an inside trip and pick up a little bit of the pieces.
This level too, we say it a lot. I think Mig brings it up a lot when he's on the show with us. These are not the nature of this condition. It's not winners of 2 lifetime. These are not stars. A lot of times it could just be who's maybe feeling a little bit better on the day too, and some of them aren't feeling great probably, and that's why you have big question marks with the horse you picked on top, Dunedin Causeway, who is a major player. And I guess it does give you some confidence that he's had 4 works coming back at least.
Yeah,
but with
works.
Royal King, who just showed speed and completely backed out. Royal King to me is interesting because you go 3 starts back, and this horse actually ran one of the quickest figures of anybody in the race. That was for 25 non-winners at 2. Actually sitting off the pace that day when he didn't get out all that great early. And then I just couldn't find an excuse for that last start where that was just such a
bad,
completely drop out of it performance. And there's going to be other pace to go with, primarily that 4 horse in here.
Yeah, that was just a bad effort. Maybe getting off slow was the best thing that happens to that horse a few starts back. Yeah.
All right, race 2. We get into the early pick 4. It's a New York bred 30 maiden claiming race in this spot. I wound up going to Jansen in here. You have Jansen second, I see. I actually liked Jansen's race last time. And apparently inside speed Andy had on Track Trends was doing very well that day.
Yeah.
This horse was 3 wide the entire way, put away the 9-5 favorite, who was really getting to the winner in that day. There were only a few I think there were only a couple of races at a mile that day, but these were just insanely slow fractions.
Yeah.
I know the other race at a mile was a lot better group of horses, but it was about three, maybe more than that, but I believe it was about 3 seconds slower that this group went fractionally early and certainly to the half-mile point. So, I mean, that Warchrome just got to do it on the front end so incredibly easily, and at least Jansen was making up ground where Speed was doing well that day.
Yeah, listen, this horse, I know it was kind of against it last time, but this horse has run races where this horse should have won multiple times now, and I just feel like I'm starting to see enough of this horse. This horse just isn't getting the job done at shorter prices sometimes. And listen, the most likely winner in this race is probably Jansen in here, but I just can't take this horse based on what I've seen time and time again, where he's had good setups in some of his races, and even last time out, as you said, ran against the track and still ran second, but still ran second again.
Still ran very good. No one else was making up any ground in the
Yeah.
race. He was.
I mean, listen, he can win. I'm going to use him in here defensively, but I just had another idea.
So you went to a horse who was in the same race.
Yeah.
Why do you prefer him?
I'm just hoping today that maybe Katie Davis can get him away a little bit straighter and a little bit stronger. He's had a tendency to break in and out in his races, and it's cost him a little bit. And last time out, I mean, he got wiped out at the start. He got bumped, got taken out of the start.
He got jostled around like a pinball out of the gate.
He got taken away out of the start. So I think he's had some trouble in those starts, and I think with a better break today and maybe a better trip, and you can see here, we're going to take a look at it here with the head on. He's the 7 in the Albert Fried, the Red Silks. You can see he gets pinballed around and then bumped and taken out of there, and it cost him a couple of lengths. And listen, he's a horse in the last few starts that's had a tendency to break in or break out. I'm just hoping today he can get a little bit straighter break, a little bit more quieter coming out of the gate. And I don't know, man. I just don't trust Jansen on the winning end. I'm thinking maybe with a better break, he gets a better trip today and can turn the tables on Jansen.
Okay. Anyone else you want to bring up in this race?
I guess you got to take a look maybe at the Linda Rice second-time starter. I found an interesting stat for Linda second-time starters. I know that a lot of times the stats are good for Linda going second time, but with these kind of horses, she's 0 for 8, 3 in the money, second-time starting 3-year-olds, first-time blinkers the past 5 years here at NYRA. And this horse is going to take money and did no running at all.
Horse was last every single point of the race. It is a big drop in class, does get blinkers, but the horse didn't do any running. And the horse that beat her that day, was 0 for 14 coming in. But look, at least did move forward a little bit off that. Was third in a New York bred first allowance condition with a 79 buyer, improved 5 buyer points. But this horse didn't show any ability at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch this horse at a short price today. The horse you have second in here, though, Senegal.
Yeah, Senegal's a little interesting. Dropping from a race at Finger Lakes. That was a straight maiden special last time out at a mile and a 16th. I do like to cut back a little. And, put this horse, showed at least a middle move in that spot. Best race the horse had run yet, but got to prove it now on this circuit.
Yeah, has to prove it on the circuit, too. And there's another horse, too, that needs to kind of get out of the gate a little bit better. Manny Franco rides, by the way, not Jose Ortiz on this horse. Jockey change there.
Ready for the pick six?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, so race 3 kicks off this $49,000 pick 6 carryover. Here we go, $49,757. 7 furlongs will kick it off. $50,000 claiming race to begin it. You have gone to the 5 Squints, whose numbers, I look at Thoroughgraph a lot too, and it looks on Thoroughgraph probably the one to beat.
Yeah. And, when you look at this horse, too, just from a consistency stand factor, too, he's run the best figures. He's showed up in all of his last 5 or 6 races and drops back to the level of the claim here for Tom Morley. And he's won going 7 furlongs before. I feel like that, when you even take a look at the race 2 starts back, it wasn't the worst for this horse coming from off the pace there as well. So for me, looking at this race, it's another race, Greg, too, where when you look at this race on paper, there's a bunch of horses in here that want to be forwardly placed, and he just looks like he may fall into the right trip again here, like we're seeing in the race that we're looking at that he and Iridescent come out of from Saratoga.
Yeah, look, I think he's a major player in this spot. In some ways, I almost feel like some of his races make him the horse to beat in this spot. I don't think you're going to get 6-1 here.
Wishful thinking.
Any chance.
Yeah.
Probably better chance of 7-2, I would think. What do you think?
Listen, I'll take 7-2, 4-1 on him. I was hoping for a little bit higher because I would think You know, Boss Tweed is going to take a little bit of money based on what we've seen, even though he's 6-1, but he's been dressed up by the tracks that he's run on. The tracks have certainly carried him and helped him out. I would think Iridescent's going to take some money, and Sandy Sweet Suit's going to take a little bit of money too. So maybe that 4-1 range.
Okay, yeah, look, Boss Tweed, turf, back to dirt. Horse is very quick, has the inside post, is going to try and take advantage of that speed, but you have Ridgewood Runner who wants to be quick. You have Living Magic who has some quickness. I still think Boss Tweed's probably going to be in front. I wound up, who we showing here?
This is Boss Tweed.
Oh,
This is a few starts back for Boss Tweed, 2 starts back. So this was at Saratoga. But he's a horse, too, and you look at him, though, don't you feel like, though, in a way, he's dressed up, too, because he's been with tracks that have been kind to speed in his races where he's run well and won? I mean, inside speed. And
yeah, he's still I still think he's the speed of the speed in here, so that makes him dangerous. But I question the 7 furlongs for him.
yeah, I mean, he's going to have to go another furlong with other speeds run outside of him. So
I want him going to Sandy Sweet Tooth in here. 4th for you, huh? This is a tough race. Look, I like the fact that he's run good every single time out. That last start was off almost a 7-month layoff.
yeah.
And there were only 3 dirt races that day. I saw Andy put that he thought, speed, especially inside speed, was doing very well that day from the few dirt races. And this probably helps kind of confirm what Andy thought, because that 4-horse was a 19-1 shot, who did hang on and was right there at the end, although they were a little bit off the rail. But this horse was, 2 to 3 wide the entire way around. I like the fact that he gutted it out, got it done. Now he's going to add blinkers here. He can be tactical. He doesn't need the lead, but can be right up there and forwardly placed. And I think he improves off that effort. And the fact that he's just shown up every single time and run very good on 3 different surfaces, by the way, 3 types of different surfaces. I think this horse has consistently shown he's got some ability and some talent. And I think he takes a move forward today.
Yeah, listen, I have the horse 4th in here. I think for this race, I think it's going to be every one of the 2, 3, 4, and 5 in multis for me, because I feel like I can pare down in some other spots. I like this horse's gameness, and I've always said that. I like horses that are fighters. Last time out proved that, even at a big number. The blinkers going on today, I just hope this horse doesn't get too keen and doesn't get hooked with anybody, but has shown that this horse can sit a little bit.
Kicks off to pick 6.
Good way to do it.
You look at where's the leans in this pick 6 sequence, and we'll go through it. It's really hard. I thought incredibly hard to try and find races where you want to single. Race 4 starts the late pick 5. I guess let's do this race, then we'll break.
Yeah.
7/8 of a mile here. Maiden special weight in the 4th. You have gone to
no fundamentally for you.
No. What'd you like about fundamentally?
I thought that was a nice effort last time out, coming off the layoff, all things considered. I mean, kind of hopped in the air a little bit at the start, and I don't think when you look at this race as a whole, this horse has to improve a ton here to actually be a factor, especially if you consider that the 3 and the 8 in here, so the 3 Fashion Victim and the 8 Citational, might have been helped by the track themselves last time out. And the 4's got a few question marks. The 2's coming off of a long layoff in here, even though it's a Wesley Ward. I just think maybe fundamentally might fall into a little bit of a right trip here, going turf to dirt again. I know the dirt races, the second dirt race was not that good, but the race at Ellis was okay. Maybe a little bit of pace in here, a little bit of improvement going turf to dirt. It's a shot in here for Chad Brown, and we've seen with Chad Brown sometimes it's the longer of the 2 Chad horses that we see that ends up getting the job done.
Yeah, that dirt debut for this horse. It was a debut. I don't put a whole lot into debuts, but it was very slow. And the horse might just be getting better and is matured a little bit. I just think Fashion Victim, I thought showed, even though easily beat that day, pressed that leader who was a 3-2 favorite, My Magic Wand, who would go on to win that race. Put in a move in that race and then was well ahead of, obviously, that 3rd place finisher in there, Citational for Shug McGahee. It did have a little bobble at the beginning in there, but I think way prefer Fashion Victim out of this race. I think can take a move forward, and I think a little extra ground, certainly with that pedigree, is going to appreciate this being a tap-it.
Yeah, definitely won't hurt this horse for sure. I mean, I have the Chads 1-2. I just put the longer of the price on top, but there was nothing wrong with that debut actually staying on, for second after chasing that pace.
But again, look, there's quite a few. I think you have to talk shoplifting in here. You don't have shoplifting in here. I thought long and hard to put shoplifting on top. Just FYI, was almost wired that filly, that champion of the debut, got beat ahead. Leslie's Rose, who became the Ashland winner, was a distant 3rd too. Value Area was 2nd that day, and now a couple of starts on grass, getting back to dirt. This horse has the best dirt races. It's not even a question of anybody in this field, but now starting to rack up all these opportunities.
Well, yeah, that's part of it. And I was just wondering, when I looked at this race too for this horse, I just didn't know. Looking back at some of the races here, I wasn't the maiden special weight race back in November. Chased the pace, was all right. The start after that was okay, and the slop actually made up the ground. Step still came wide. 7/8 kind of bother me now going turf to dirt, but I mean, again, this horse, if you're going to spread here, I would not count this horse out based on some of the earlier races. For me, I just was looking more in the Chad Brown direction in here.
What about, did the Taco Lady intrigue you at all? The best match is probably matched the best figures of anybody in the race last time out, and that was at 1.25 miles. So now cuts back to 7/8. Distance should not be an issue, at least for the Taco Lady.
No, and it should actually have some foundation underneath for this horse too. I mean, ran probably the best race last time going in the 1.25 miles. I just question the 7/8 for this horse. Now, why the cutback now?
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a lot of 1.25 mile races, let's face it, that they're going to be racing anyway around here for maiden special weight. But, maybe a mile, 7 mile and 1/8, find something. But 7 furlongs, we'll see. I mean, Linda's won a lot more races than I have. So
we both don't have Bunchen in here for Wesley Ward, who it's Wesley Ward, so it's going to take money no matter what. I was concerned with trying to get 7 furlongs off over a year layoff for Bunchen. That was my primary reason to leave this one off. This is the only dirt start. It was the debut at Keeneland in the mud.
Yeah, of course, like Wesley horses showed speed in there, went straight to the top, kind of got a little green in the lane too, ducked in a little bit here, which you can see in a second. But for me, I just thought the 7/8 was going to be the issue.
Okay.
Not so much more the layoff, but the 7/8. And, I mean, of course, the horse is going to take money. Wesley, the stat I found for Wesley was 1 for 5 with 3 in the money, $1.72 ROI, 180 days plus turf to dirt sprinting. So putting that together, and the horse is going to take some money, I just figured I would look elsewhere. And I thought there was, this horse may be the fastest of the horses in here, but I don't know. Fashion Victim is pretty speed, maybe a little bit more second time out too. Push this horse a little bit. So
yeah, being fresh, coming off that kind of a layoff.
I know, but it's Wesley too. I would think, I think the 2 is
forward.
going to be in front, but I just don't know if the 2 can see the 7/8. That was the other.
All right, that starts the late pick 5. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back, talk late pick 4.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Thank you to our sponsor, Saratoga Water, which someone's been drinking apparently. This one's about half full.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, this one's still full. So somebody's grabbing that one. Yeah, you
Someone
can tell
got to
actually
it.
somebody's drinking that one.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the late pick 4. 6.5 furlongs, maiden optional claiming race in here. So is anyone, Take Me to London, the first timer Brad Cox is in for that $50,000 tag. So 6.5 furlongs here to kick it off. We've both gone to the 9 Nilo's Rose. We're going to show you that race where Gaga's Handsome, by the way, was 3rd in that spot. This was a debut for Nilo's Rose. And September 28th on this sloppy, sealed effort. What'd you think of this race?
I think this is the horse that a lot of people are going to lean on in the pick 6 today. And if you really look at this horse, this was a good effort considering this horse pre-race, because if you take a look at this horse pre-race, she was pretty green, and she kind of almost dumped Manny Franco during the warm-ups for this race. And you look at her run, she's got like this big, bouncy kind of athletic kind of type to her. And she ran well, though, considering all the greenness she had before the race. So the talent's definitely there, and you could see how well she carries herself. And I think with any second-time improvement, having an outside post today, I think she's probably like the most likeliest winner on the card today.
Really?
For me, yeah. For me, I think if she can get over that greenness and run the race she ran last time and have it all together, I think she wins in here pretty easily.
Yeah, look, I picked her on top. It was a wet track. I want to see it on a fast track. I'm not near as confident as you are, but I do think she's the one to beat in the race going in. And the filly that won that race was dropping out of a maiden special weight at Monmouth as well. First timer next door, Take Me to London. I don't know. The dam was 0 for 3. This is a first full to race.
second dam was a little more turfy, too. I was
Yeah.
expecting like a little more distance.
Only
and-
win was routing on the grass. It was a race at Delaware. I don't know, but it's Brad Cox, so you have to obviously pay attention. And there's, I don't know, I unlike you, I don't think that the 9's a star in terms of this group. Not saying she's a star, but it's a huge standout maybe in this race. I thought there were some other ones to look at. I would feel very unsafe with a single in the spot.
I
But
don't
you're
know.
probably right. I mean,
Normally-
in terms of the
normally-
morning line, she's probably the lowest morning line of.
And I mean, I look at the races before the morning line comes out, but honestly, I thought that she just ran the best race
On a
out of the
different
group.
kind of track she's going to get than today.
Right, but I think if she mentally put it all together and any kind of second time improvement, and I don't usually take 6 to 5 shots on top all that often, but I just think today I think she's going to be pretty. I think it's going to be tough for the rest of this field to handle this horse if she transfers that to a fast track and she's with it mentally. You got to take a look at. Well, it's not going to help for pick 6 purposes, but for any kind of late pick 4 wagers and everything, take a look at her on track and see how she's behaving.
We both had someone second.
Yeah.
John Kimmel, Kendrick Carmouche, pretty wide trip last time out. Did I guess better of anyone try and make up a little ground. It was a long way back to third in that race too for someone.
And Teaser Rock wired the field that day. I think that was a Chad. Was that Chad Summers' firster? It was a Chad Summers horse. I do remember that. Yeah, and improved. But this horse, someone's improved in every start from a figure standpoint. Ran well last time out, getting back to the dirt and cutting back to sprinting. And I think that's what this horse wants to do.
Okay, I was a little bit of intrigue with the 7. Tell her to win. Mere fact that it's the first time getting maybe arguably a little bit easier company. Was in that Parks Straight Maiden Special. Ran third, took some money that day for Jorge Abreu, and then that last time out just probably just too tough of a group in there. Took a backwards move, but I think getting back to 6.5 furlong showed maybe a little more ability going shorter too. I think could be a danger.
Yeah, and took money in both starts too. If you go back to the debut was definitely the better race. I mean, this is definitely a lighter field than what this horse has faced for sure.
You may be right though. It probably is going to be a lean for a lot of people in this race. I don't know where else you lean. Race 6, 1 turn mile, conditioned $16,000 claiming race. In this one coming up, and I wound up going to Because the Night, who we'll take a look at here this was back on October 3rd, off a 3-month plus layoff in this spot. And it was coming off a win, voided claim, 16 non-winners at 2 before that, and off the bench here. At least, battles in here can be forwardly placed, and it was a long way back to Arabato. I think there's a little room potentially to move up second off the bench, too.
Yeah, I know I have this horse 4th in here. It's just that I just didn't really trust anyone in this race, and this is another race where I would actually spread if I'm leaning in the race prior. I like the way that this horse fought it out to the line last time with Mr. Swagger. So, he had to make that first move. Looking at this race, if the race didn't take anything out of him, he's gonna be tough, certainly right back in here, and at least he's posted well again inside in here to make that move, to sit off of a horse like Arabato and outside of him too. By the way, Manny Franco picks up the mount on Because the Night, so just note that as well.
Cool Operator is a must-use, I think,
Yes.
when it's Linda Rice,
Yes.
Lescano, dropping down in class, faced Emirates Road a couple starts back, had the lead against that horse, and that's a horse who came back on a 50,000 starter allowance with almost a 90 buyer in the next start. So horse one you got to include. But what'd you like with Herd on the Street?
I like the drop in class for this horse in here down to the 16. Wayne Pottsbarn been going on. The last 2 races I thought weren't bad. I thought they were all right. They faced better horses for sure in that group. 2 starts back got into some trouble, got knocked around a little bit, ended up wide on the turn. I think got the lead, and then it kind of just took a little starch out of him late in the race. Last time out, didn't really put in too much of a rally in that race against Magnificent Mile and Mangianera, but I just feel like they were just tougher than what this horse is facing today. And I think with a little bit of drop in class, the numbers have been good too. It's Byard in the 70s in a couple of starts. I think it's a good trip in here too, off of a horse like Cool Operator. If Arabato goes, blinkers going on. Badlands Ruler, the 4. So maybe there's a little bit of pace in here for this horse to run into in this race today. So let's take a shot with this horse at a price.
I think the 3 and the 5 are 2 that are running maybe a little bit quicker than a lot of these, but the mile's a big question mark for him.
The mile. I don't think the mile's going to be as big of a problem as for Herd on the Street as it might be for Because the Night. But I think Because the Night showed last time out, though, that the horse can run the mile and fought it out. So we'll see how it plays out from a tactical standpoint in here. But I think using all of the 2, 3, 5, and 7 for me in any late wagers would be probably the best bet.
All right, race 7, mile and 3/8 on the grass. allowance optional claiming field in here. Lenthari, I believe, from the inside for Bill Mott. 2-1 morning line favorite in this spot. We've both gone to. Part of the reason I went to this one, and I don't think this horse has some huge sort of advantage, but the draw is already where he wants to be.
Yeah.
Did get held up a little bit in that race last time out as well. And we're going to show it to you, too. It's back on early in that meet, July 26th at Saratoga. And Tyler Gaffleone was aboard this day. And just had to wait a few times for some running room.
I mean, if this horse would have gotten free anytime sooner, this horse would have won. This was a really good effort, first time in the States for this horse. And kind of was in between horses, too, most of the way. So solid effort coming off of, that layoff. And the winner of that race got a perfect ride, too, from Irad Ortiz, last to first. Just timed it perfectly to get the job done. I think when you put it together, I think this horse is the horse to beat in here. I'm not even worried about the little bit of layoff here. I was reading where David Aragona said that this horse was entered earlier this month or last month for a race here, and it just got rained off. So not really worried about the layoff here with this horse. And I think the inside post will help this horse. This horse is going to be able to dictate his own trip again and should be able to run and should be able to win, really, if it comes back to anything like the first race in the States.
All right. Be like Clint. I thought, look, this horse, he didn't totally, I know he finished ahead of that horse, but that horse still was running late as well. It's weird. Lentharis got that room opened up and started to put in this kick. You think, oh, he's going to take off, and he's gone. And it didn't have the kind of potency I was expecting to see when he first started, because Be Like Clint, he didn't put him away by that much.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but I just kind of feel like the winner got a better trip in there, and Lentharis would have won anyway. Still would have beat him Be Like Clint by a head. So I still feel like that race was okay. Be Like Clint, to me, I feel like he runs his race every time. It's just he hasn't won in a while. He's always coming from off the pace, and we've seen it here. It's hard to come 6-7 lengths off the pace when some of the pace just doesn't materialize. You want to be a little bit closer instead of winding up fully from the back of the pack. So I don't know if he's going to get the right setup again in here today, where the one should be a little bit closer, get first run on him.
You got a 20-1 shot in second. What'd you like with late?
Yeah, this was just a little bit goofy on me. When you look at the last race, the 4th and 6th place finishers came back to slightly improve their figures a little bit. Live High, Live Low came back to run second in the Carl Place here with a 90 buyer. So I think the race came up okay last time out. I know he's a horse that's going to have to wind up from the back, but I was just kind of looking to split the difference with some of the shorter priced horses with a longer price in there for the exact. I think the 4 fits the bill, because I think the 4 is another horse that doesn't have to launch from 7-8 lengths out of it, can be a little bit closer, and came out of an okay race. So just taking a flyer in second with this horse. To me, the 1 was way the horse to beat, and then there was just some horses after that I put underneath to kind of round out exotics.
I wound up using Tide of the Sea second. This horse does get a bit of a weight break. Christopher Elliott's going to ride, so you get an apprentice on there, which could be dicey, but in a turf race, but at least all he's got to do is get to the front.
Yeah,
this horse is quick. Can he, from that outside post, clear and get over there if he can? This horse has some big races. That last race at 1.5 miles on the turf makes him a player if he can get position early and not lose ground, and he breaks okay, because he has the speed to be leading the way in this spot, and he can finish too.
Yeah, I may have should have put him a little bit higher in there too, because I think he should be able to at least be second or clear from out there today, I would think, with an aggressive ride. Christopher Elliott's been aggressive. He's been riding well.
So it sounds like Lenthari is a lean for you, is a
yeah,
single.
I'm leaning.
Okay.
I'm leaning on him and Nico's Rose were 2 leans for me today.
Okay. Close things out. 6 furlongs sprinting on the grass. New York bred maiden special weight. This race goes through more therapy in this spot, who a couple others are coming out of as well. We're going to show you that race. Blame It on the Stones was in here as well, who wound up 4th, who did get a rail trip, I thought, through most of this race, then kind of, tipped out and did run on late, but more therapy. Poor beginning in this race, hit the gate, was last early on, and then puts in this big late run under Jose Ortiz. And the winner of this race, of course, would be 3rd in the Grade 3 Futurity against Menti next start.
Yeah, and wired the field to it there. But for me, with more therapy, I also just think more therapy is going to be tighter for that race last time out, for that experience as well. Got that nice run up the inside, and I think should be a little bit closer today with a better break as well. I have the horse 3rd in here. This horse can win for sure in here, no doubt. If we went in a bunch of different directions in here, I think we got this race kind of covered.
Yeah. So what'd you prefer about the other horse coming out of that race, the 3?
I'm hoping. Here's another horse that I was talking about earlier on, like with Nico's Rose, that acted up too. This horse kind of ran off in the post parade last time out, so I'm hoping this horse, may have ran. I'm hoping this horse doesn't run his race in the post parade again. Stay a little calmer. I'd like this horse. I'd like to keep an eye on again, see how this horse is behaving in the paddock. I think that this horse will probably maybe get a little bit of better break today. Hopefully, runs a little bit better, can turn the tables. Came out a little bit too after that start. Ended up a little bit wider, as opposed to the winner getting the winner, as opposed to more therapy.
Three
getting
got a
upside.
much better trip. Three was on the rail the entire backstretch.
Yeah, but then kind of came. But the 5 actually ended up coming up the inside as well. So instead of coming wide, so I don't know. It's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other for me. I just prefer the 3 a little bit here. I think the 3 will be a much better price too. I think I'm gonna get like 2 or 3 to 1 better on this horse than that. So if this horse can stay a little bit calmer, a little bit better, I'll give this horse a shot today. A better price coming from off the pace in here. What'd you like about Friend of the Devil?
So Front of the Devil, I think 2 dirt starts, horse is quick. We don't always know if that dirt speed translates to turf speed in here, but I think with this one it potentially will. By the way, brother to Jansen, who we're going to see in a second.
Yeah, earlier.
Second dam was a stakes winner on the grass, 4-time winner on the turf, so there is turf pedigree in here. Already has shown that quickness on dirt. Now the blinker's coming off. If this horse can show that speed on the grass and is able to still be forward and relax and take those blinkers off, I think the horse can settle on the front and have more finish late. That's what that equipment change does. I love it here. If he's able to get in front, and with that turf pedigree, I think there's a lot to like, and I think there's a good chance he will be the one leading the way in this spot. More therapy, way the horse to beat, I thought, especially with a better break, but hard to look.
Hard to say.
Trust a little bit at a short price.
Yeah, I mean your
for
horse.
me.
I mean other than if any of the firsters show speed, Swift Magic's the only other horse blinkers on that may show a little bit more forwardness for speed. So you may very well be on the lead in here.
What'd you like with the 1?
So Tapiture's a 6% first time turf with starters. I mean that's not the greatest of stats. This horse was entered, I think, a few weeks ago. Was on the also eligible list. I remember seeing this horse on the list and didn't get in. Kendrick Carmouche has ridden well for Michelle Giangiulio too. So when this horse has been live, Kendrick has been on them. So we'll see from the inside post. I was just hoping to get a little bit of a price on this horse. It was more of a connection play than anything else. No steam or anything else on this horse. It's not much turf pedigree to go on, but we'll see.
Good luck.
Thank
2
you.
leans for you.
2
Pick
leans for me
6.
today. Yeah, and normally I don't kind of lean that heavy, but
Those are the 2 probably
that
that most people are
going to lean on, and I just feel like that they both should be able to, if they run their races, I think they both should be able to win. But
yeah, I do feel like more therapy. Some people may single there as well.
I would think so. I wonder how many people do single in the last, though. Sometimes I feel like some people go a little bit deeper in the last, whether it's an A or B or just a caveman ticket. I'll just have a little bit of coverage on the back end. But if he has second-time improvement, I mean, I have the horse there, and the horse is probably the horse to beat in here for sure.
$49,000 pick 6 carryover begins in race 3. That's it for us. Yeah. Good luck to everybody playing this afternoon. Hopefully it gets up there. Who knows? There's a chance it could carry again. This is not an easy group. There's some races look like some chaos could happen.
If a couple of those shorter-priced horses don't win, you could see it could spice things up for sure. And I'm sure some people will be going deep today, get some money for Breeders' Cup over the weekend. And we've got some great cards, too, here Friday and Saturday.
We do. So, be sure and watch us throughout the weekend. We'll be talking plenty of Breeders' Cup both Friday and Saturday with all that's going on. We have quite a few people out there, actually.
Yeah.
Play all the action today. Get signed up. Started with NYRA Bets. Be part of this Pick 6 carryover. That's the offer. Again, that $25 free bet. You can use that during the Breeders' Cup. And that $200 deposit match sign-up bonus, Cup 25, promo code to use to take advantage of that at NYRA Bets. Play through the Breeders' Cup all weekend long and beyond with NYRA Bets. Track stats. Get those track trend stats and betting insights once you're a member. And carryover, not that far away. Make those final selections. $49,757 begins in race 3. And then we're on beginning at 12:30 Eastern Time, Fox Sports 2, all afternoon long. I'll be on through the first 2, I believe, maybe first 3, and then hand it over to the next crew. So looking forward to it. Happy Halloween, everybody. Good luck today. It was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.